Good morning and welcome to the Capital Gang. I am Hon Ssemujju, and as Moses of a morning show would say, with a bevy of topics for discussion this morning. I found Honorable Ssemujju of the PFF party and Mr. Benjamin Katana of the NUP party deep in discussion just outside the studio. Is that the future of things? Is there space for you to talk to each other away from Capital Radio?
It's the present and the future.
The present and the future.
Yes.
Okay. That's very, very good. Honorable Ssemujju, is that the present and the future for you as well?
But our aspirations are the same, including those who are hostages in NRM, at least the younger ones. So we all aspire for a better managed country.
Yeah.
But people can seek refugee in NRM. But eventually
they are internally displaced persons.
You will see them celebrating like it happened in Libya when Gaddafi was brought down. Those who are cheering him were now the ones celebrating his fall.
I like the way you say those things, especially looking at Lydia settling down in Australia.
Lydia is of our generation.
Oh, she's not the young person. Good morning, Lydia, and welcome to the Capital Gang.
Thank you, Oscar. Good morning to the listeners. I bring you greetings from Mbale City. They are listening in, and to my colleagues in the gang, you're also most welcome. Yep.
Okay, most welcome to gang. Have you had a break?
Lydia has discipline.
Yes.
A break from
she has
where?
not complained anyway about NRM elections like Waliomunsi.
She understands the terrain.
Now you are provoking Oscar to begin saying I was a commissioner of the NRM Electoral Commission. I'm a lawyer of the party. All those things.
I have seen everybody.
Of course, even one time I lost elections in Mbale and I never went for independent. I didn't contest.
Chris said the counting was taking place in darkness.
Life goes on, and that's what is important.
And
so I greet you. I bring you greetings from the women of Uganda, the women of NRM, Women's League, and I'm well and moving, and I'm very happy in NRM. Yeah.
My question to you was: are you rested after that hectic?
There is no resting. Campaign? I have a campaign to run in Mbale. How can I rest? I am.
But at least you have one race.
I'm in Mbale City, and we are moving on very well. And I'm the flag bearer of the NRM, and hopefully people can support me well, and I win landslide. My nomination is on the 15th of October, first thing in the morning. Ssemujju, you want to say you're not aware that you're going to be nominated between 15th and 16th?
The nomination is over 2 days. So I'm wondering why you want to go first.
Why shouldn't I go first? You want me to be the last? No. I'll be on the 15th of October.
Okay, we have a guest.
Oscar wanted to know how I'm doing, so I've given you the full circle of what's happening.
You have.
Mbale City, woman MP, flag bearer. I'm well. And nominations is on the 15th of October. And Mbale City sends his greetings.
We wish you luck. I have a guest.
The luck I have.
Studio.
Thank
Emmanuel.
you.
Benjamin, send Emmanuel to the microphone. I have Emmanuel Johnson Obo. Is that correct, the way I've said it?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, he's the Secretary Mobilization's National Youth and Student Center. A law student at Makere, a former guild leader Makere, and a former youth leader in Jinja. I hope that is all correct.
Yes.
Yes, and welcome to the Capital Gang.
Thank you very much, Oscar.
Yes, and a Gen Z person first say sorry for coming late.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
To Mwalimu's class.
The jam was too much. I think as this generation, we need to find a better transportation mean around the town.
This generation, you are using boda, and it is a problem.
But how can a boda be a problem in the jam? They know how to maneuver.
Yes.
Alice is also driving.
Yeah, he's NRM youth mobilizer. He's driving.
So if you are driving, how can you be complaining? You are part of the jam. You should come early. If the meeting is at 9, leave home at 6. By the way, that's what we were taught. You cannot complain of a jam when you know that you are coming to the gang.
You are an OG of where he's studying. So you're most welcome to the Capital Gang, Emmanuel Johnson Obo, a youth leader. And my question today was, is the youth ready for leadership, or is it just mere Gen Z swag? Are you ready for leadership as a youth leader, agitating for more youths?
First, I want to thank you for this opportunity, and I'm happy to meet one of my former mentors, formerly in FDC when we were still in student leadership, and is one of the people I'm proud of, despite the political affiliations.
You were once in FDC?
Yes.
And you're referring to Honorable Ssemujju here?
Yes, and
okay.
I'm proud of that past. Yes.
And what about the present?
I'm also proud of the present. Honorable Ssemujju was one of those few leaders who could call in Makerere, and they respond. They could come with Freedom Square. Things have changed. There are no longer those Freedom Square gatherings. And
it was used to be fun, by the way.
Are the young people ready for leadership? May I believe in guided leadership, that there are certain positions you need to occupy after holding some positions. Like, let me give a practical example, that to be like maybe a head prefect of a school, you cannot come in senior 1 and you become a head prefect. You need to have gone maybe to senior 1, senior 5, senior 4, and then senior 5 you become the head prefect. I feel like after exhausting those progressive leadership levels, you have the experience, but also you know the society you are going to lead. So the young people are ready for leadership, but at what level are they ready to lead? So there are many platforms like the National Youth Council, Uganda National Student Association themselves, GIL leadership and youth MP position, and even local government. I saw the former GIL president of Makerere switching from NUP to NRM, and they gave him flag instantly, because I feel like he has been prepared. He has worked outside the university for the leadership.
They gave him flag bearer of what?
Arua City.
Arua City.
Yes, he's just 25 years. Lawrence, Engineer Lawrence.
So for him, he was given, there was no election?
No.
All others have been
He was elected.
Competing. Okay.
He was elected. So I think even the electorates, when we go back there, they can see whether you are ready or not. And there are other young people also I have seen who have been given chances by the voters. So they are ready. But at which level? That's the question. And how prepared are you? Like, if this gentleman has been a former student leader throughout his high school in Makerere, was even a speaker of Nsibirwa before he became a GIL president, now most likely is going to become the youngest mayor in Arua City. And when you discuss with him the plans he has, I was interacting with him, I think 2 weeks back, and was telling me that he wants to get the young people in Arua to get business like exporting eggs from Arua and Kampala to Eastern Congo, because there's shortage of eggs there. And when he was calculating the expectation in returns, you realize that actually he's visionary and he knows what he's doing. So we are ready, but the question is at which level?
So for you yourself, have you stood for the youth elections?
This time round, I'm not contesting. I contested in 2021. I had planned to go back, but I went back to law school. So I realized that balancing law school and going back to the constituency to run for MP would be a little bit hectic. So I said that let me add value to myself for this electoral process, and then maybe in 2031 I will go back and run. But also I'm actively engaged.
This is your second degree. You're studying for a second degree, right?
Yes, I'm doing law. It's my second degree.
That would make 4 lawyers in the studio right now.
So I feel
it's
like
only Ssemujju and I are the normal people here.
yes.
No more.
Yes.
So I think by 2031 I will be ready. But I'm doing something actively this time round. I think for the first time, I have gone across the country and visiting the youth in different districts and asking them that we need to actively take leadership and engage in deciding who leads us, especially at the presidential level. And for the first time, I have been talking to different youth that as young people, we need to reach a consensus that we support this presidential candidate with the promise that this is what we want. After supporting you, this is what we want. We scratch your back, we give you some little time, you also scratch our back.
In fact, I was going to ask you, for young people, it is unusual for young people to cross and go to the NRM. Usually it is the older people who have grown in the NRM that have stayed there. So for you, how did you manage that? What was your reason for going
to the NRM? When I was a student leader at Makerere, we used to
At the time you were inviting Ssemujju?
Yes. We used to invite Honorable Ssemujju, and he was one of the people who could come. And we didn't. Those student leaders don't need actually money. Yes, things
student leaders don't need money.
They don't need money. Sometimes they just need to meet you. I meet a lot. Honorable Agatha. He's so frequent. He's a common person at Makerere. Yes, your works can give you that title. So
yes,
when
so welcome
there,
to Gang Agatha.
What made me cross was one. In 2019, jokingly, we wanted to do what we call agriculture contest, like you see math contest. So I told people that whereas you can spend a whole day without doing any curriculums, but you can't spend a whole day without eating. So we need to prioritize agriculture. So we were organizing agriculture contest. So we invited the president for our agriculture exhibition at Makerere. And what shocked me, I wrote to him and asked him that, President, I was the Prime Minister, come on September 23rd, 2019, come at 11. And His Excellency the President came at 10:45 and spent with us, students, from 10:45, he spent up to 6 p.m. And after, he chose like 15 students who had exhibited. One of them is now in Arusha, and they are doing well. He took them to State House, met them one by one, asking them like the exhibition and what. And he gave us an audience. And from there are other opposition leaders. We used to look for them, except Honorable Ssemujju, he would respond. The other ones, you would look for them even for 3 months. So I asked myself, if the president himself can return my call, So he talked to us and he gave us opportunity. No, no, because like you can't call the president, but we wrote to him and he responded. And after interacting with him, I realized that actually it was better to build within than building from outside. So I made a decision to cross.
That was a strong reason.
I don't want to mention the opposition people who used to call and they think we needed money. But I just like to concentrate on the positive things in my life. Like I told you, Honorable Ssemujju.
Honorable Ssemujju, who is to respond to your calls?
They make me stand. It used to be like a rotary. You go and stand for 1 hour.
Yeah, and then you engage us.
Yeah,
I think you've made you have a good reason personally.
So you are now NRM
for him.
Very. A staunch NRM.
You're a staunch NRM. Yes. And as you say, Agatha, he's saying he scratches your back, you scratch his back.
I hope we will not
at least
the decision.
He has a strong reason. But Lydia, are you done with the youth elections now?
Not yet. There was a tribunal matter, a matter before the tribunal, which was resolved. They are now organizing and they will have the meeting soon, because they also have to elect the members of parliament, flag bearers for the youth, the 5. Not only the leadership of the structure internally. So that should be happening very soon. We were very busy with nominations of the presidential candidate, but we are going to do the youth. Any time from now it will be done, because the tribunal has been able to pronounce itself on the petitions of the youth. There were several, although the one you knew that was prominent was the one.
The one that was prominent?
There were several petitions by the youth NRM youth leaders, and the tribunal has concluded on them. So what is remaining now is to reconvene the youth league to do two things. One, to elect their leaders of the party leaders in the structure, but also to elect NRM members of parliament, youth flag bearers, and there are 5. They are going to elect 5 candidates. So anytime from now, that will be done.
Honorable Ssemujju, you were quite unhappy about the youth elections. So,
which youth election? For the NRM?
For all.
But Oscar, let me just give this background. In the census report, people who are below 29 years are 31 million. 71% of Uganda's population, which is 45.9. So below 29 are 31 million, 71%. The youth, people are considered youth in the constitution, 18 to 30. 30. It is 10.5 million. Of that 10 million, 5.2 million are not in school, they are not in employment. I told you I visited the Ministry of Gender even last week, the Honorable Betty Among, for other things. But I learned from my conversation with her, in Saudi Arabia alone, you have 170,000 younger Ugandans who are house girls and askaris. A number bigger than the total population of Butambala district, which is 140,000. And then you will go and look at the statistics of each age. So there is a crisis of youth. One of the leaders, I don't want to claim that we trained him in FDC, but they used to invite me for their meetings. They were calling them what? At that Freedom Square, before Kataha, the Minister of Education, and in Awangwa, the RDC in Makerere, barricaded the Freedom Square. Now you can't have a meeting there. That what has excited him to join the NRM is that the president gave him 5 of them time. Just 5 of them. And Museveni does that.
Your training was in vain.
So the youth in Uganda, and then you come to these elections, they are there meaningless, but we participate. Because the youth council that has structures from a village to parish, sub-county, district up to a national level, its budget is 1.1 billion. Yet when Museveni has 4 billion for slashing compound, so Museveni has more money for his compound than the...
But the compound is very important.
I'm not saying it is, but if it is more important, if it is more important than the 71% of young men, that's okay. So I want to tell this former FDC old boy, I hope he will not regret. Maybe at a personal level you may not regret, but we don't seem to have, because when Museveni came to my constituency, there was no PDM to inspect, nothing, zero. So they ended up creating for him a washing bay where they corrected the youth and claimed they benefited from Myoga. But they were not even beneficiary. But he had to inspect something to show that his programs are working. So the youth elections, now I'm answering your question, but I thought I needed to say that to him, to know that the issue is not Museveni picking 7 youth, meet them in State House, but find policies that are going to change their situation, that you don't have to go to Saudi Arabia to become an askari or a driver. I was with a young man yesterday who was in Afghanistan. They were recruited and taken to an American base. And he told me in major cities like Kandahar, at least there is some more, but those old isolated ones, you say they attack it, you think now life has come to an end. So the population is scattered all over, everywhere. There is an opportunity, even if it is in the mouth of a lion. Young people are ready to risk because they have to live. Because I am now trying to evacuate. The reason I had gone to Among, let me say it, I have a young man, his wife, they marry now women. After marrying, they go to Saudi Arabia as house girls, these young men. So his wife is stuck in Saudi Arabia. They have what they call accommodation. If you can't work where they have deployed you, they can't release you because you are like a slave 2 years. Because they take you, they take you. You must work for 2 years to pay for the money they have invested in your visa and air ticket and so on and so forth. So the girl fell sick. They took her back to where they accommodated them before deployment. So I went to Amongi to plead with her, can you retrieve this young woman and return her? So the back to the youth elections, I don't want to lose the question they asked me. NRM cheated all special interest groups elections. In my village, Bukasa, I corrected all the people, they are not interested. Now I wanted to boost my part and corrected them to go and participate. At least for the youth, they came at the polling center and cheated. But for the old people, they even never showed up. They sat in their room somewhere and wrote all the 5 were NRM. They never even came. For the youth, they would come, cheat, and go away.
What do you mean
these structures of
cheating how?
There were no elections in my constituency for old persons, not anywhere. But for the youth, I told you again in my village, they started counting. NRM, they had ferried the number of people, they were satisfied that they had ferried enough. 330. PFF 480. They stopped counting, grabbed the one who was conducting election, put in a police patrol and drove away. Then they made declarations at police. They had not even finished the chairperson of the youth. So, but they did that throughout. So all the special interest groups were cheated. So the outcome is given that NRM, having assembled only NRM, they will go through. I didn't know that the cheating would even happen in their own internal elections. NRM, that they would cheat, because you see, you can cheat the opposition, but why do you cheat yourself? So when I saw Tango do his son and chairs flying in the air and kicks, I said, now, that's why I asked my younger brother, I hope the decision he has made, he will not regret, because where you have gone, where you are now staunch NRM, you saw what they were doing in Kololo. You were in Kololo? Oh, thank God. Because for us, we are watching from far, we saw chairs flying and young people kicking each other.
There was a lot of young people. There are a lot of young people fighting. But back to you a little bit more, Emmanuel. So what activities do you have for the youth that would get them into leadership? Seeing what Hon Ssemujju is saying here.
I personally think, responding to Hon Ssemujju, that going forward, the leadership of this country may not be determined by the person who knows how to shoot the gun best, but the person who knows how to create more job opportunities for the young people, and to compete globally by the out-competing Indians and Chinese in the market. That's my proposition. But the activity going forward, you can see the shirt I'm putting on. There's something this country has excelled in, whether Honorable Ssemujju wants to accept or not. At least in the region, what I would credit and give the president an A or a B plus is stability and peace. And surprisingly, that I have been reading and like the neighboring country.
Which one is stable?
Uganda is stable. Uganda is stable.
You just tell me, you said in the region, so tell me which country he has stabilized. He has destabilized South Sudan, destabilized the Congo.
I think he has done a better job. When you see UPDF in South Sudan, they are trying to do peace building efforts.
For me, I'd agree with you. Here you will not win an argument with Ssemujju on that matter. But you're the mobilization secretary of the National Youth and Student Center, and Ssemujju has explained to you, and I agree with him as well, that a lot of people aspire, young people aspiring to either own a boda or go and work in the Far East. So what are your programs, leaving alone President Museveni's?
Number one, as the National Youth and Student Center, this is a 2022 proposal written by me, and I drew it from the Catholic Church. Every diocese, when you move around the Catholic churches in this country, they have what we call a student center. And there is a youth chaplain. Within those student centers, they do a lot, empowering the youth, but we lack a centralized national youth center or student center. It is not there. But also, I have never left this country, but I have very many friends who leave the country, and every time they leave the country, they tend to hate the country more. I don't know why. So I tend to sit with them, and they tend to hate the country more.
To begin with, yes.
Yes, and some of them travel on government money. So I get shocked. So I sit with a number of them who went to Harvard, New York University, Cambridge. So I tend to ask them, what makes you hate the country when you leave? And then they begin systems, what?
The country or the administration?
I think they hate the country because sometimes
the governance of the country
facilitate.
But Emmanuel, you first leave those alone. I'm looking at your mobilization programs.
Our mobilization
so
is strictly this, that we have identified that we want to work with a particular candidate, and we have listed the reason why we want to work with him and what we want him to do.
So yours is more like political mobilization?
It is political mobilization, but a give and take. The reason is that we are
at what level?
Strictly we are working for the president, strictly across. We have a structure of 15-15 per the 71,000 villages. So our thing is that yes, but our no, our reasoning is, Oscar, that for the time I've been in leadership, it is easy to demand a leader or to hold them accountable when you have contributed towards their going to that position. So we are not folding hands. We have written what we want the president to do for us in return, including construction of a national youth and student center, which we want it to be in Gulu, and we are working towards that. Now, the details we can discuss maybe on social media and what, but for us, strictly, we are saying that the president, when you are leaving, these are some of the things we want.
Leaving where?
When he's leaving after.
When is he leaving?
Soon.
He's not leaving.
No. I believe in age even when I'm NRM. So one of the things we are requesting him that as youth want just two things, Oscar. One is the National Youth and Student Center.
Did you discuss the living with him?
No. The second one.
Why are you assuming?
I believe in nature as well. The second one.
Give me first switch off Lydia's microphone.
The second one.
Okay, the second will not die.
Okay. The second one.
Yes, go on.
Yes. It is fine. The second one we want. We went to Makerere as the mobilizers and we asked them, what do you want? And the girls told us that if the president can construct for us an additional girls' hall, accommodation hall, because all of them in the NRM regime, they have not constructed any. They are renovating, which is a good work. So we are also going to mobilize for him using the student leadership of Makerere. In return, we are tasking that they construct an additional girls' hall. And we are going to demand, because if we are pushing him, but there are girls who don't have accommodation. So if there are
54 universities.
Okay,
in
to
Uganda.
just qualify her, students went to University of like Dodoma. The government of Tanzania, yes, it's a new university. Yes, the government constructed. When you go there, you should find time and go there and see the constructions. Very big, but sometimes I don't blame the administrators like the First Lady or the Minister of Education. I blame the people who are running this institution. They may not be able to voice out that we need this. So if the students can voice up, they will answer that. So now we are taking the game to the student, that you mobilize for the president and then you demand what you want.
Okay. So Lydia is coming on the microphone. Where is the mobilization center, the student center in Mbale? Just give a direction to where it is.
We are constructing this in Gulu. It is a proposal.
No, you said like the Catholic Church has a center in every parish.
No,
so where is the one you have in
when you go to the Catholic cathedrals, which is a diocese, I think Mbale, I don't know whether Mbale is not a diocese, it's Tororo, which is a diocese. Tororo has. After Tororo, there is Soroti. But Mbale, I think there's St. Austin there. It's just a parish. It's not a diocese. Okay. But also there's a residence for the bishop in Mbale there. But with the Tororo, you have
talked about
center.
72,000 villages. Yes. They are not in Igulu. They're in the whole country. So they've asked you a very simple question.
Yes.
For Mbale, where is your point? Leave alone the constructions.
Oscar was asking the Catholic Student Center. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, because no, I mentioned it because
a parallel to what you are doing.
Yes.
Yours is mobilizational. You want to cause accountability.
Yes.
For the youth and students, and they've asked for Mbale, where is your center?
Ours is
not
national.
Not the structure or your points people there.
Yes, ours is a national, but maybe to relate to that.
But it's in Gulu.
Yes, like we would say a national stadium.
What's the justification for Gulu?
The justification of Gulu that our National Student Center is like a replica of the peace restored in Gulu. And the reason we are putting it in Gulu also is the proximity to it, to South Sudan. When you read the concept, you will understand that we want to help even the South Sudan attain and enjoy the fruits of peace in Uganda to inspire them. Do you get it?
You are doing so many things.
Yes. But
so
I want just
now we are in South Sudan, Uganda, 72,000.
Yes, I want to bring this. When you move in this country, you realize actually the president and the government is doing some good work. In Mbale, where you come from, there's an innovation hub there. It's led by one of the young people, I think, in Bulambuli. Within Mbale, there is I think, a startup hub. I visited it, and they are doing good jobs. But there's a problem with Piara in this country. Yes, even when the president is doing something good, they are not publicized well.
Yeah.
But when I see good work going on,
okay,
and we need to appreciate that.
Lydia of the NRM.
He's already staunch.
He told us he's staunch.
Just pick a new convert.
Soon you will start complaining like
Lydia of the NRM. I invited Emmanuel as a representative of the youth. He said he wants to emulate the Catholic system of having a student center all over the country. We've not identified where the one in Mbale is, but do you think it's a good model?
Yeah, first of all, I would like to welcome Emmanuel and all the young people to the politics and inclusivity of the party. It's good not to be spectators. It's very, very important that you do not only talk from the side, but you are intentional and deliberate about participating about the governance of the country, because not everybody does that. So for me, that's already a plus. Secondly, like what Honorable Ssemujju has said, you've heard for yourself that over 72% of Uganda's population are below the age of 31. That goes without saying that you do not need to have this affirmative action. Let me speak about Parliament. Ssemujju, I was looking at the Electoral, and if people say the truth about age, the 11th Parliament has over 68% members of Parliament who are below the age of 35 below.
What percent?
Yeah, there are many.
Yeah.
40, 30. Yes.
Who are below 35?
Yes. They are 35 and down. 40. They are very young. So that is also going to make us. No, that's not the issue. I'm talking about age. Let me make my case, because for youth it's also about age. Nothing else. Whether they are useless or useful, but it's about younger people. So we're talking about, we've defined the issue of age. So for you people, the Emmanuels of Uganda, I just wanted to open your eyes that you don't need to focus so much on the 5 slots. Actually, they have almost become invalid, because there are many members of Parliament who are younger.
The youngest MPs are not youth MPs.
They are not youth MPs. That's my point. So you don't need even to wait for these 5 slots. There are many members of Parliament who are younger than the youth MPs in Parliament. So follow your passion and follow what you want to do in terms of participating and being inclusive in the governance of the country. And for me, I think that's the beginning whether we've been able to register so many councillors. Very many young people have come up as councillor candidates across the board in all political parties. Even actually, Ssemujju, I know that you've done the statistics. Maybe it's too early, but I have also noticed that there are more independents who registered than actually, because political parties have only one person for a slot. But there are many independents, even just for councillors. I was counting from where I come from. For one of the positions like the LOC3s, we had registered like 28 councillors for just one category of the LOCs. So I think it's good, but the question now will be, why are you joining politics and how are you joining? That's I think the debate, because you can join and then you'll be able to make Ssemujju happy with this debate of being useless, of being not focused or not be, because that's also another thing, because how you join and why you are joining is very important beyond the age, because the age, like we always say, the age is just biology. Today you are 20, tomorrow you will be 30, the other day you will be 40. So this biology should not divert you from a substantive calling of contributing to the leadership of the country. So I have not understood what Emmanuel's things are about Gulu and about using the Catholic model, but I think after the radio talk show, I will have a chance to listen to him.
To be close to the king in
because he's Oscar. I've given a general impression of the youth, but I want to be specific to Emmanuel. That I have not understood his concept very well. I am going to be interested, and I don't think it can be a debate on radio. Maybe after here I'll listen more, because he's saying they are following the Catholic model and they are putting the headquarters in Gulu. And but if you're talking about in school or out school youth, I don't know. We shall talk after. But the talk about Gulu and then South Sudan, I think I have to talk to you after. Then I understand, because the timing. Also, if you are timing campaigns in Uganda, we just have 3 months, right? We have 3 months of campaigns, and January 12th we'll be having elections of the first batch of elected leaders. That's the members of parliament and the presidentials. So, are you targeting the election season? Are you targeting a strategic movement of the youth? This we can talk after the talk show, but my interest, if you're a leader in Uganda, you have no choice but have an interest in the young people, because they have the numbers and they have what it takes to. They are the future and the present. And I recognize young people and the role they can play where we are going. Thank you.
Benjamin, on youth strategy and leadership, Emmanuel is not so clear how he will be a leader. What is clear on is that he works for the president.
That is young. That's what
clear on is that he works for the president.
I think what the country requires is a paradigm shift in terms of inclusion of young people. You know, when the country adopted affirmative action for youth, for women, and other special interest groups, the reasoning was to have inclusive development. Unfortunately, because of the patronage politics of Museveni and NRM, most of these people that came on the ticket of affirmative action looked at it just as an opportunity to tap into the clientelism, not as a platform for advancing the development agenda of these special interest groups. If you want to address the challenges of the young people, because when you listen, I have been part of all these youth networks, Students' Union, National Youth Council. When you listen to what they are talking about, their mindset, their orientation is narrowed down to the political elite in these different sectors of society. But I believe that we need to focus. For example, the Honorable Ssemujju here has given you statistics of young people who are going to Saudi and the Middle East. As a country, can we focus on skilling young people, and not just the skilling for local consumption, but skilling with certification, so that even when we're exporting labor, we're exporting skilled labor? Because when you go, for example, to UAE, there are people from Singapore who are working in the banks, and then you have people from Uganda who are doing cleaning. So as a country, we need to focus on that specialized skilling. The other aspect is on a business environment here. You'll find on account of the very unconducive business environment, if Mwalimu Oscar here is starting a factory, because of the money that is lost to extortion, the money that is lost to all these extractive interventions of government, he's not able to recruit as many young people as he would. He's not able to pay them well because most of the money is taken away through extortion, through this very unconducive, extractive government interventions. So we need to shift the thinking of only focusing on these young people that occupy positions. When you talk about these youth MPs, for example, we have had youth MPs for more than 20 years now. What voice are we hearing from Parliament
since 96
that is advancing the inclusion of young people in the development agenda of the country? What role are they playing? Because theirs is largely reduced opportunity at individual level. My brother here is talking about a youth center or something. What we need are not these structures, physical structures of concrete and brick. What we need are programs, and programs that are not intended to win an election, but programs that are intended to empower people, to be sustainable and long-term. Where do we have a skills data bank in this country? For example, I used to work in immigration, and people would challenge us. Someone would apply for a work permit for a person to work in a certain area, and they would say this can be sourced locally. And the investor would ask, where is that information of the person that I can source locally? Where is the data bank in this country to say that we have this number of people certified to provide this skill in the country? That data bank is not there. So these are the things that the people who want to...
I have seen our Moses Pierohanga moving around places and giving out money to these skills programs. Are you saying they're not programmed, they're not deliberate,
they are
haphazard?
In 2016, for example, there was a program where they started washing bays in Nigeria, but those washing bays have since closed because of the spirit in which these ideas are brought. These ideas, and because Moses or whoever is doing it now, it is Damir and the rest. They bring these as political interventions aimed at winning support from 7 in an election. They are not brought as ideas that are aimed at uplifting and transforming society. Now, when that purpose of winning an election is achieved, there is no supervision, there is no follow-up on whether the 20,000 multiplied to 100,000. So that is the missing link. That we have mixed development with politics. Politics can play a role in development by initiating policy, but not when you politicize implementation of development. That when you are going to give money to people who are starting a washing bay, they must come in NRM shirts. The understanding is that, like he said, clientelism, that you scratch my back, I scratch your back. That's the tragedy of our development agenda, that we have reduced it into
Benjamin,
politics.
if you had a startup, is it not enough?
But even the startup is not enough. If you give, it must be structured. It must be structured. There should be preparation. And even funding should be on ideas. It shouldn't be on politics, that now you are 10 people, they are giving you 1 million shillings. Because there is no preparation, number one, but number two, because there is no structure. Who is going to follow up on this? And where is the accountability mechanism? Where is the supervision mechanism? Because all these are very important dynamics.
Okay, Agatha. You patiently waited. There's a post here. I must tell Emmanuel he's not faring well on social media. At Garden, it says Mwalimu at Ssemujju. What I like is that Agatha and her contribution has earned her an honorable title. Okay, so that is thanks to Emmanuel. But all others, they are just killing you, Emmanuel. Let me read one for you here. Nkwangu Jonah Chaze says the youth leader you hosted today is simply seeking for himself using the youth bracket, just like others use religions, regions, tribes to get something into their pockets. Well, Emmanuel said if he scratches your back, you scratch his as well.
Yeah.
So at least he's very clear on that one. Agatha.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm speaking about youth in this country in general.
In general, and Emmanuel is here, so we can focus on him. Is he developed now? Is he doing well?
Well, so as first cross-checking, when Lydia mentioned the very big figure of youth in Parliament,
young people, because the youth is up to the age of 30.
Yeah, so below 40, it's about 30%. The biggest percentage is between 40 and 48, which is still a good thing. But it's it's still much better than I thought, considering the hindrances, the limitations of youth in this country participating in politics. One, you have the issue of ring fencing positions. We have positions that cannot be
contested.
The presidency, the vice chairman of his party, all in their 80s.
Yeah. But that one is not worrying Emmanuel. He says biology will work there. It's only Lydia doesn't
believe.
But
that's the thing. If you're going to wait for biology, when you have
Moses Ali at 86 is nominated.
Exactly.
After when nomination
you have
is in German.
When you have almost 80% of the population, Uganda is the second youngest population in the world. I think second to Niger. So now, if you are almost 80% young people, yeah, but you have just 30% in a parliament of 500 and 29. I think for me that's worrying, because that you have ring fencing, you have this seniority of people shouldn't be challenged, but also you have a money factor that our elections. I cannot blame people like Emmanuel who moved to NRM, and in NRM he's telling you, we have a deal, you scratch my back, I scratch yours, because you cannot compete fairly. It's not a level playing field that if I want to belong to FDC or PFF or NUP
on an ideological viewpoint,
no, I will not even, people won't vote for me because I do not have money to dish out. Talk about employment. Honorable Ssemujju talked about people in Saudi Arabia. We did at Agora, we did a labor externalization exhibition last year. What Honorable Ssemujju didn't speak about is how many people die from there.
Yeah.
How many people die. Even this year, there was one dead body they brought. Some of them, they are sick and neglected. Others, organs are harvested.
After death?
No, even before. Some are tortured to death. I think I have told the story of the mother of my niece, who I contributed to go to Saudi Arabia because she was here and had no job. She feared Saudi Arabia. She had heard the stories. I said, then why are you going? And for her, she said, if I stay here, I will die anyway. I will starve. She went. She came back. When she couldn't speak, she couldn't walk. She died without us knowing what happened. Whether it was torture, but she was in that deportation center for a long time because she failed to work at the place she was put at. And then now, at that time, COVID had the first COVID of no flights. So for 2 years, we didn't know where she is. She came back, a dead body, Now, the problem there is actually not, Katana talked about skilling, that we take people there that are not skilled. It's not just skilling. The problem is our government, the regulations. That is why Filipinos and Kenyans are supervisors in those countries, but ours.
And Ethiopians.
Yes, but Ugandans are cleaners, are paid the worst, are treated the worst. Because here, you do not have regulation for that. You do not have a government that cares about its people enough to say, we are caring about where they are going. What you have are companies that are unscrupulous, most of them owned by some soldiers, some people in government, some relatives of the president. who these companies just take people. They don't care. They don't care where they are taking you. They don't care what agreement they have entered with you. So the problem...
The business is majority are working with other labor companies in Saudi Arabia. So this one will sell you to the other. So their business usually stops there.
Yeah, so it's human trafficking. So now, the last time I was doing investigation about this, I found that we have an MOU with only, I think, now Saudi Arabia, and I think there are 2 MOUs. Anywhere else, there's nowhere where Uganda has entered any bilateral agreement with these countries where its youth are going. Every time I'm at the airport, I cannot remember a single day you're not there, and there's a line of people that have been dressed in things that they've never dressed. They have never dressed in them. You can tell to go there. These are young people. I think the young people in this country, people like Emmanuel, who have joined NRM to advocate for the youth. You are joining a party that has never cared about the youth anyway. So I don't know how you're going to do it, but that's a big problem that has been ignored. And at the end of the day, all these issues have been raised. Some of these companies that take them were delicensed, but they still take people anyway. People are still dying. No one is going to... At least that person that Honorable Ssemujju went to plead for has Honorable Ssemujju. Yeah. But there are people
Others
that
don't have anyone.
They do not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to stop for a break, and then we'll have Emmanuel conclude on that one. Moses Biarhanga tells you Ibra is saying that there are no PDM beneficiaries in his constituency. Since the wards or parishes in his constituency each get 100 million annually for the last 3 years, why doesn't he raise this matter on the floor of Parliament? Depending on the parishes in Chira, each has so far received 300 million in 3 years. If there are no recipients, please, Ibra, escalate this matter. On the project the president visited in his constituency, it was a ghetto project funded from the Ghetto Youth Circle. Welcome back from the break. This is the Capital Gang. As I told you, Emmanuel, they are killing you. That one I read out in the break mistakenly. It's called Edwin. It says none of your points is strategic to improve the economic, mental and job stress for the youth. So Emmanuel, what do you take from this discussion as we close it out?
Number one, I want to relate this that I think I need to pick Honorable Wanyoto's concern that our strategy should be should empower the youth more than the president who's a bit aged.
No, both.
Yes, both.
Because it's strategic, you need him. But if it's about this season, the 3 months,
yes,
I've just given you an example that there are so many younger people there who are contesting. This is a season for governance.
Yes.
So if you want to be inclusive and participatory, take along some support for youth candidates.
Yeah.
At least flag bearers, you have them.
Yeah.
Then the principal, yeah, so that there is that connection. But I asked a very simple question: what is your target of the cadre of the campaign? You said the presidency, and I looked at you. You cannot leave the youth behind.
Okay.
Find a way of taking the youth along.
We have 146 districts and 11 cities. Out of that, we have personally, I have 50 chairperson of the youth chairpersons, NYC, Live the Youth League, whereby most of them above 33 years. And we have contributed money, but also strategic intervention. So we have been building, and then even across, I think Honorable Ssemujju, Wanyera, is running here. The Buyondo, we have friends, even in Noop. I was yesterday having issues with the Honorable Katerega when they did not give him the card and he wanted to run independent. And I told him, we should not only like the party when it serves your interest. So basically, we have done that. But what brought us here strictly is that what we are going to achieve for the young people, we need to rally the young people if they are going to demand accountability from this government. If they are going to demand accountability from this government, and for the government to work for them, they need to be seen, but not only to be seen, but they need to work towards the government they need in power. So we are just telling them that, yes, we mobilize for the president over, one, we need a national student center. That's number one. Number two, we need in these public institutions, especially Makerere, whereby there are 6 boys' halls with 3 girls' halls. And out of those, the number of girls graduate more than the number of boys. The government should be seen constructing another hall. We don't need this government to ensure that maybe their term, the president's term, comes to an end without an extra additional hall in his name or in the name of the serving government officials. So basically, you ask whether we are targeting this campaign period only. No. This initiative is running, the concept I'm going to send to you, it's running for 1 year. That even the breaking
but
of
the people in the opposition tell you that after the elections, you'll be chucked out because you're a vehicle for a win.
He will not even meet the man.
No, I have met the man before the election. Even, like, I'm not speaking this because maybe I met him. Even last year, I met the president with around 130 student and youth leader across the country. The issue is that when you want to meet that president, you can write and respond.
Yeah.
You get it?
Okay.
So I'm going to meet
even
him
when we
after
invited
the
him
campaigns.
here, he wrote.
Yes. Even last
Fred
year.
Amonya says, tell the country all we need is rigor in education. Instead, young people are being swept into the commercialization of politics and drowning the country. But thank you so much, Emmanuel Johnson Obo, for your discussion on the youth. Follow some of his comments.
Oscar, I wanted
on
just
X.
to conclude by something.
One sentence, yes.
Yes. We have an International Peace Day, which is a UN gazetted day on 21st, which is a Sunday, 21st September. It is a Sunday. And why I'm here, strictly in this region, President Museveni is synonymous with the peace around. So we have that day celebration. It's going to be in Kololo, and is the chief guest.
Okay, so you're inviting people.
Yes, I'm inviting
Okay.
Agatha, I'm inviting...
So, Agatha, I listened to your space, and you were talking about, is it arrests or kidnaps? What's the situation of these?
First of all, they are not arrests. I'm always hearing people try to tell us that they were legally arrested. We know the procedure of arresting. To arrest someone legally, police should come, identify themselves, tell the person the reason he's being placed under arrest, take him to legal custody, and allow him
You have these
an
things
opportunity
you
to
call-
have his
is it you use gazetted
detention centers, and allow him his lawyers, his family. But when people are just, snatched off a road, even if you are police, even if you're the army, it can never be an arrest. That's you are kidnapping people. Now, we have someone who has been missing for 18 days now, Sam Mugumya. Now, for me, the case of Sam Mugumya worries me a lot because...
Is he the one that was in Congo before?
Yeah. So, I think I am one of the biggest advocates of people that have been in prison for so long, like the NUP supporters that have been there for 6 years now. They are seeing Sechitolekozo, Machete, the ones that were with the group that pleaded guilty and came out, and those remained there. But at this moment, I'm even wishing that Sam was in jail, and we know that he's in prison. The anguish, I was missing for about 5 days in Tanzania, and the anguish, it's like, it's torture, it's psychological torture to you, to your loved ones at home. I am sure Sam Mugumya's mother, who had just seen him after over 10 years, does not think that Sam is alive, because it is rare for someone to go missing in this country, and the lawyers apply for a writ of habeas corpus, which is produce the person, the body of this person, and the courts give a decision before that person reappears. Usually, when they know that the court is about to make a decision, they produce them somewhere, and put up their trumped up charges as usual. This one, the writ was given over a week ago, 7 days passed. They came back yesterday. It was yesterday? Yes. And the army still insisted they do not have Sam Mugumya. Sam Mugumya wasn't taken at night. He was taken at 10:30 in the morning from a hotel. People were there. People saw some people dressed in army uniform. Now, when they are denying having him, you start to wonder, is he still even alive? Is he alive? Because, it's really incredible that I am thinking people like Besigye, Yasin Machete, who are in prison, we are better off knowing that we can go to prison and see them. And by we are better off, it's not that we are better off. It's that it's another injustice. But this one is terribly worrying, very concerning. I don't know what the family of Sam Mugumya is going through. I think he had narrated to me how happy his mother was to see him, how shocked, she couldn't believe that she was seeing her son back alive. But immediately after that, he's snatched away again, so that happiness is short-lived.
What was he doing in Congo?
He was put in prison in Congo. He was in a Congo prison. So he left prison, I think, in 2022, and it was clear he cannot be safe here. So some people in the civil society took him to exile in Zambia. Now, while he was in exile in Zambia, he kept telling me he wants to return. Whether he is allowed, because this is his country. Why am I rendered stateless? He had no passport, he had no nothing, and he knew what would be awaiting him here. But for him, he always said that if I could survive in a Congo prison, where for 8 years I only saw 2 Ugandans come to visit me, I can survive in a Uganda prison where my mother can come and visit me. Now, some didn't know that things had changed. That now, the danger he's facing is not just prison, disappearing, or being killed, So now he comes back very determined. This is my country. I need to come back and participate in its processes. He wanted to run for MP for Rukunje municipality. Yeah, so yeah, he addressed the rally once. I'm hearing some people saying, he didn't come back legally, so they can deny that he's not in this country. He had no passport. What other legally can even come back? But we know that he was here. He was at public platforms, rallies. He was, so the biggest problem is that you have a state that does not want to be accountable for its citizens.
So are there others that
have been kidnapped
or in detention illegally?
Yeah. So you have, the other day they took his members, their deputy spokesperson.
He has been charged.
That doesn't make it legal. The way he was picked up after coming out of a court and first disappeared, and not a normal arrest as we explained here. But also,
by the way, what happens to your lawyers here? What happens to your client if he's in the dock waiting for his lawyer and your lawyer has been taken away?
Well, that happened to Besigye. For him, he was lucky. He had many other lawyers. By the time they put Aaron Chiza in jail as well. You find others. The good thing is that we have lawyers in this country that are willing to fight for human rights. So in this space, we can't say we've lacked lawyers, at least in Kampala here, but even up country, I've seen, and I comment.
Even East Africa, you people had gone to Tanzania and Kenya.
Yeah. Even East Africa.
And people wondered why you went all the way to.
That's why you see Martha Karua here every time Besigye's case is happening. So it's that we just want a region that respects the rule of law. We want to help in advancing human rights, so we will do. It's a tiresome job, but we will do it nonetheless. So yeah, the NUP people are in jail, are being picked up every day. One of them yesterday went to one of their nominated councillors for Luzira, went to visit their colleagues in prison, and he was detained by prison officers.
Where? In Luzira?
Yes. For 2 hours. For 2 hours, he was being interrogated.
For the audacity, I think he's being.
Why are you standing in Luzera prisons? Who even signed for you? Who gave you signatures? That the people are on the run. That guy, young man, is called Pius. The people that gave him signatures, some are on the run, others have been. So he was interrogated for 2 hours by prison officers, and they told him, if you continue, you will disappear or you will be in. So yeah,
prison officers.
Yeah, prison officers. That's what happened just yesterday. Yeah.
Benjamin Katana, your party now has faced the brunt of the arrests and kidnaps, as Agatha describes them.
Yeah, and I think we have been emphasizing this, that we are dealing with a regime that has lost shame. That matters like rule of law now have no place in our dispensation. What is happening to NUP supporters, because with continued loss of support by the NRM regime, it results more to coercion as a means of retaining power. And it needs fear, because no matter what stands between the population and the dictatorial government is fear. People fearing to rise up, people fearing to challenge and to hold the government accountable. And the only way they can reinforce this fear is by doing what they are doing. We have people who are victims of enforced disappearances in the 2021 general elections season. Chivarama, Muhammad Kanata, and the rest. So but we have people that lost their lives. Now, we have people that are still in detention. Agatha has talked about the Machete group and the rest. They have been in prison since 2021. There has not been a trial. From the time the Supreme Court pronounced itself on trial of civilians in the court martials, the DPP was given instructions to transfer these files to civilian courts and have the people tried. To date, they have not been tried. This goes against all the standards of fair trial. They have been in detention, no future, and you can see that the courts of law have also been intimidated into submission, because even the various applications for bail have been declined on flimsy grounds. Now, this season that we are going into can only get worse, because every time there has been an election in Uganda, I think maybe since 1996, there has been violence. It increased in 2001, and to date it has been going up. It can only get worse. But I think the people of Uganda must understand that there are no two ways. It's either to surrender, because you see the reasons for which people are being arrested. Someone wakes up and posts on X and says anybody in NUP uniform should be arrested and killed. Now,
not someone, CDF.
Yes, the Chief of Defense Forces. Tomorrow they will say anybody putting on shoes should be arrested. The next day they say people putting on trousers should be arrested. We cannot have a country run like that. And the only option is to fight or surrender. And I think the people of Uganda need to make that decision.
Yeah.
Well knowing that if they don't push hard, it can only get worse. Because in 2016, for example, the other day we were on a show together here.
Fighting has never been a solution for Uganda.
No, fighting takes many dimensions. It doesn't mean a gun.
Why are you fearing?
I fear. You don't fear.
Fighting doesn't mean a gun.
Okay.
It doesn't necessarily mean a gun.
Didn't you see when
you are frightened, it's not
when
a gun.
Emmanuel said that the old man might die? Even Lydia feared.
Yeah.
No.
It may even involve going to the on the polls day, going to vote against the government that is carrying out enforced disappearances and holding people in detention without trial. When Museveni came to power in 1986, he said such things of the past will be history in Uganda. Because now today we are talking about Mugumya, who has been, who is now the latest victim of enforced disappearance. In history, during Amin's time, we know about people like Professor Kalimuzo. So many people, Barakiri and the rest. So today, what is happening is not so different from what was happening under Pandagari. that it has become a full cycle. The fundamental change that was promised is now a fundamental shame. And you will see people without shame saying now that you are protecting gains. Which gains? Of returning, subjecting citizens to enforced disappearances, torturing citizens, holding people in detention without trial. Certainly those are not gains.
Honorable Ssemujju, now that your FDC or PFF is not the main opposition political party, I guess that is not a particular problem that you're facing or agitating against.
Is PFF.
Oh.
And exactly.
But I told you earlier, I went to Minister of Gender because someone is stranded in Saudi Arabia. I don't even know the political affiliation. Because it doesn't matter which party you belong to. Some of these children who I think it is Baram who went to plead with the Mohos, and eventually they asked them to admit to a crime they didn't commit. They are in my constituency. They are not supporters, but they are residents. So after that, they had to come to me as a leader. How do we get helped? So even if there was nobody from PFF, it will still be because people were killed under Idi Amin did not belong to a political party or under Obote. But for me, I think where we are now, and that's why I was teasing Emmanuel when he said he wants to contest in 2031. I have a feeling we are being systematically handed over to Museveni's son, who looks at accountability and has an inconvenience. I think he's surprised that his father subjects himself sometimes to at least some form of so he thinks and he has said he admires Kagame. So he if he ever succeeds, and will have to fight Oscar, you don't like the word fighting, but you have to fight, because if he ever succeeds, we will be where Rwanda is. That you are at the mercy. When I was a journalist, I used to visit Rwanda. All the private media, people who are not even independent, but just private, not government, they are all in Belgium, in France. So you no longer have them in Rwanda. Moz Kainerugawa, Museveni's son, who is in charge of the army, one time he said when he goes to Rwanda, they write very well about him, but Ugandan media doesn't write good stories about him. I will kill them. He said he will kill them. And sometimes people like blaming alcohol, that you see he's drunk. But when Edmuto was kidnapped, and I told people even yesterday in my constituency that you see Museveni has a bad heart, but he's intelligent. His son is not. Museveni will never celebrate torture. He will pretend that actually it was not committed by the state.
His son has both the bad heart and an intelligence.
Yeah, so he celebrates torture. His father will pretend that it is. Yeah, he will say, who did it? Now this is the procedure of arrest. Now these soldiers, you're not even supposed to back at a person.
I remember how he wrote that letter after the torture of the Kamwenge mayor.
Yes.
He said, that's not how we want to solicit information.
But the son will,
because it is illegal.
Will congratulate JAT and SFC for corroborating people in Kawempe. So we are systematically, because age that Emmanuel was referring to earlier has its own limitations. Museveni, one time I was talking to Kano Bogere, and he told me
age is a biological function. You cannot
that one time
You're the one wishing it away.
One time intelligence was advising the president. He was passing by the
until the biology works,
waving at people, and they
so
told him
Emmanuel
no,
cannot
it is
tell
risk.
us.
And said, which sort of president do you want me to be? President who fears his people, that I can't put my head up to no. So where we are now, the president, because of age, there are many things he can't do, and his family is helping him. Unfortunately, the family thinks it is their birthright to be leaders in Uganda. This is like their estate. So all of you are just an inconvenience that you must be dealt with. That's why the CDF, that USJ, we shall kill you this year. He has also told me he will kill me. The year is about to end.
That's why I've been protecting you a lot, Hon Ssemujju, because I don't want anything happening.
No, but
to you.
even generals die. There is one I saw in the media that he died in a hotel. So they also die. Even Muhoozi will die. So really, you cannot scare me with the death. Everybody will die. But Oscar, for me, the big point is that we are progressively being handed over to a military run by Muhoozi. So these kidnaps, I don't even think Muhoozi sees it as a problem. He actually thinks that's the normal way of doing things. He has the enemy mentality in his head that these things are okay. So it's where people, I think he's surprised that people are even making a noise. Because Sam Mugumya came at our head offices, picked nomination forms. We were processing him to be part of our exercise to arrive at a candidate in Rukunjiri. For more than a week, we don't know where he is. Even the court that said bring him, they are not bringing him. I raised his matter in Parliament. Government couldn't explain. So the no people are being picked one by one every day, and the courage said they will pick all of them.
So was he in
Mugumi was in Mbarara. I think he was on his way to either Rukunjiri or Kampala. Yeah. So that's where we are now. Whether you speak about it, whether you fear like Oscar, well, Sam Mugumi had not been on a talk show since he came back. So that should worry every sane person in Uganda. This is one of the young people. You wait when it is your turn. I told the journalist when they got corroborated accompanying, covering Kyagulanyi going to the UN Women Rights Office, and Mwenda said, don't make noise, this is how NRM works. Today was just your day. So we will all, under Kayihura, who knew that an NRM mayor can be picked and is tortured almost to death? No, I don't know, almost to death. So when you allow a government to crumble, you are going to be the next victim, you like it or not. Because look, I told the story. The younger people of Nope were picked in the 2021 elections. There is a group they picked at a construction site in Mukono. Some of them were in my area. They took them to a military facility. They were making everybody putting on a beret, and then they photograph you. After being photographed, you go and you are arrested. And they told me a story that the time they were there was one of those soldiers who was a good man. Every day he would tell you that you pray hard from 7 to win, because if he doesn't win, you are going to be killed. He said now he started praying from 7 to win. He said there was one, if he gets drink, you're going to be beaten a whole night. Yeah, if he came drunk. He said, so under that guy, you're not sure whether you will see the so he said, so we will leave. But the conclusion is that they picked them, drove them in a sugarcane plantation in Mukono, and dropped them. For a period of 1 year, they have not charged them. So these things are real, Oscar. Kidnap. So the lawlessness being ushered in by Muhoozi Kainerugaba at the watch of his father. We will catch up with everybody. So we can pretend here, these ones who think about youth programs, all this nonsense is going to come to an end. That parliament that dominated by NRM, who will even roll a red carpet for Muhoozi, at least to pretend that there's accountability. Someone him and said, you clowns, you will see what will happen to you when I come. So even their own infrastructure, they can't account. At least you will fear that I'm going to appear before opposition. But they are above everybody, above parliament, above judiciary. And that's where we are now.
Okay, we stop for a break, and then we'll bring in Lydia and Emmanuel. Welcome back from the break. It has been a rather noisy break. I don't know whether it was on arrests or kidnaps. On the earlier topic, Nora Oraga says, UBOS has the data bank. Who said we don't have a data bank? And it has reports. Please go and read them. Agatha, we expect more from you. Which labor externalization company exported your loved one? What did you do to hold it to account? Litigation, please let us have specifics. And how the problem can be challenged. It is not true. There are no bilateral agreements. They are actually there. In the case of her niece, they spoke out loud and pointed the finger at the company. Call them out loud and clear. That's what Nora is telling you. To Emmanuel, are you discussing university student leadership campaigns or political campaigns? And then Thomas says Emmanuel only thinks about those youths who have graduated, but he doesn't have a clue about those who have not seen a blackboard. But Emmanuel, you're on microphone now. They as a law student, this is the topic we've been discussing that we're closing out, must be a challenge for you as a youth, a lawyer, and a newly converted NRM. Yes. We're discussing kidnaps and illegal arrests, and then now you are a new convert into the NRM. You're a lawyer as well, and you're a youth. It is kind of difficult, and you've said yourself that you've had audience with the president, and you'll have audience with the president again. Are you brave enough to say, Mr. President, in addition to finding economic activity for the youth, let them not be arrested, let them not be kidnapped?
Are they arrested just because they are youth or they are opposition, or both?
I'm going to ask you the same question, Lydia. Let's start with
we have
Emmanuel.
To be clear.
First, I want to partly agree with the Honorable Ssemujju that the president is a very brilliant person. But also one of the things I like about the president, yes, he has always repeated that he's a very brilliant person. But I want to disagree with him on one thing, that he has a bad heart. I think one of the things I like about our president that he relates with his humble
You're already a politician, because
yes, he relates.
You're answering your own question, not mine.
Yes, he relates with his humble background, and I think many youth know me with my surname, Obo. Yes, and maybe the Emmanuel thing is confusing them. I think I'm one of the young people who has met the president maybe in 3 occasions and speak my mind.
Yeah.
Without disregard.
So, Obo, will you speak your mind on youth arrests?
Yes, because some of these youth being arrested are new, but they are my friends. Yes, but also my background, when I was in FDC, I spent 2 weeks in Luzira, and I know how hard it is to be there, and the challenge.
You were in Luzira because you are FDC?
Yes, by that time we were against Koju Kwatako. By that time, yes, so they took us there.
Now we support you.
No. So I think when I meet the president next, the only person I have not met in this country, I want to be honest, is the first son, who is the CDF. It's very rare to meet, and even when you invite him, it's so hard to get.
But you can meet him on the
No, on the tweet. I'm not on Twitter. I'm not on Twitter. Yes, it's so hard to meet, by the way. So I disagree with the number of them.
You want to meet him?
Lydia, hold on. Let him finish his presentation.
No.
Yes.
No. But I disagree with the issue of arresting people. That one, even when I'm NRM, I don't agree with it. Because things change. There is when I usually use personal example. There is when we had a scuffle in Ginger, and the people who came to the rescue of the very NRM youth were the NUP youth. So I personally think that people next to the president, even me when I meet him, this issue of the military arresting people is wrong, and we shouldn't run away from it as NRM members. I have seen also some NRM people being arrested, but it's a wrong thing. We are Ugandans. I don't think that you can love your neighbors more than you love your own people. But on the president side, I think the president is one of the most parental men I've seen of this generation and very
Like
lovely.
you said, it is not aware that people are being kidnapped.
No,
So,
I don't want to say that.
You've said enough. But Lydia, you're on microphone now. And on Crispy Kahero says, these are arrests, not kidnaps. An arrest is by an authorized state, by an authorized state authority, while a kidnap by an unauthorized individual. An arrest can be lawful or unlawful by the wrong person or without disclosing the reason or without due cause. Lydia, on microphone.
The political season has started in high gear because now, between now and the 12th of January and going forward, there will be a lot of issues in terms of they asked Ssemujju about the heat, in terms of a heated debate, and people are looking for where there is vibe or masanyalaze. So, when they talk about kidnaps, there are only two issues that come to mind: the legal and the political. And the crimes are also defined. The crimes for arrest. If you you've had the issues of immigration, the most the Electoral Commission can do for you is to say whether or not you qualify to be a candidate. You shouldn't be a subject of an arrest. You see what I mean? Because the laws that govern whether or not you're a candidate are clear. Not everybody qualifies to be a candidate. Even at the LOC1, you must meet the standards at every level. For parliament is different, for councillors is different. So I when people come and say somebody was arrested because he had not met requirements of an electoral position, that seems
strange.
It is flawed. It's not correct in our laws of the country. But then politically, I cannot explain because the politics of our country also is very clear. What people say sometimes not what they do. So I sometimes, Oscar, I don't know what to comment about the arrest because the season is going to be very turbulent, and you don't know who is right and who is wrong. Because yes, I can give you an example, and first wait, let me tell you what. This is not the first time I've been.
It's on your microphone.
I have grown up in my public life in politics of Uganda on two fronts, either as a campaigner of candidates or a system, or as a candidate myself. I have been in elections where I have actually been a victim. My agents are beaten, but because I'm on the side of the ruling party, people laugh at you if you complain. They will say, "Hey, even you." So sometimes where the opposition is strong, NRM suffers violence. We really suffer violence, including rigged elections. But where also NRM is strong,
there's only
where NRM is strong, the opposition cry victim. So this country does not have a monopoly of each side.
I saw you Kawempe. Is it Kawempe North?
So yeah, that was my work. I had to go and support a candidate of the NRM, mobilize women. And for Kawempe, because a special case, actually the candidate was a woman, how could I miss? I'm a leader of the women. So, but when you get there, I remember Oscar, I kept telling them that where I had been deployed, I fought violence, and people were laughing. Now, when they went to court, they were saying this election was valid. How can it be valid in an environment of violence? So the contradictions are out there. It is us now to agree on the minimum and move. Because there's nobody that has a monopoly over violence. Even the opposition, they have violence. Independents are worse. Because you cannot even track them. The ruling party, we are up there, but also we suffer. We really suffer as NRMs, especially areas which have strong opposition. We become the minority, and we are trampled upon. And security agencies, is not obvious that they support incumbents. Because of the commercialized elections, you cannot tell. You cannot tell. Yeah, I'm giving you what is the reality on the ground.
And you know...
and where we are heading, you see these urban places, including Kampala, the way they cry. The way they cry.
I'll remind her she was an electoral officer before.
Yeah.
and so on.
You
So
see?
all these tribunals would be coming to her.
NRM supporter who has been shot in this general elections.
We are beaten,
for
but we
supporting
live
NRM.
quietly. It's not about we are beaten.
They were shot during their
In their internal things, but in the
Yes.
general election.
We are beaten. In the last elections, my agents had the broken limbs, but where do you report? You go and announce because people say, even you.
Who
Even
was
you.
your opposition opponent?
You can
NRM.
find out. These are public information. This is public.
NRM.
Eh? No, find out
But
who won elections
thank you.
in even for the presidential.
I think
They are, you know, Oscar, let me conclude. They are also coalitions. Oscar, you can see somebody is NRM, but when they go to their communities, they become cousins, in-laws, brothers, and they hit you. It's not no here, no there. Yes.
I have seen that.
But there's someone responsible for these forces, and he should be held accountable.
The back ends with the head of state. He has to do
Yes.
better, but the rate on the ground is that people are suffering. And so not only in
But Benjamin,
position, even us NRM we
I can
suffer.
tell you that both these people who I know well, Ssemujju and Katonto, they have a sizable voters from NRM.
They are biggest.
They'll come and vote Museveni and vote Ssemujju.
Their biggest
They'll vote
supporters
Museveni
are
and vote
purported. They are
Katonto.
purported
Yes,
NRM, but they don't support
but they
NRM
don't have
flag bearer.
people-
No, they support.
They don't have
Museveni.
people who torture citizens. The
No.
debate is
No,
about
they
that.
don't.
Yes.
So, Honorable Ssemujju,
Yeah,
let's move. We can only sample some
We
of
have
these
opposition
topics.
who torture.
No.
And by the
NRM
way, there's
people.
Greens can see me on X's. NUP activists lack civic awareness and hence act like misguided missiles. Katana, please help them.
That is
Any
the-
revolutionary
that person is
government
the misguided
cannot
missile.
underrate that type of activism. But that type of activism, look at what it has done in Nepal. The Gen Z went up, uprooted the prime minister, ministers. We've seen a plane carrying the president away. How were they able to do that? And will their country survive? That kind of chaos, now their country may degenerate completely.
No. I think their demands were very clear. The trouble they were fighting is trouble that had been caused by the leaders. And once the leaders have left, I think Bangladesh now has stabilized.
Has it?
No.
Yes,
It has not.
to a level of burning and torching all buildings. Because you see,
My worry is that the Nepal might also now go down.
I am not sure it will. It will depend on who eventually
But the
takes.
youth are rebuilding. You've seen
and-
them.
First of all, I am a believer of a stronger government. Because sometimes when people are protesting, there are those who are.
You say you're a believer of strong government, but then
Yeah.
you don't say these things about the Rwanda government. That's a strong
No,
government.
Rwanda is not a government. That's a military junta. It's not a government. So you want another description? So I you see, when people are protesting, the state has a responsibility to protect a country. But
Lives and
sometimes,
property.
sometimes you don't have to. I mean, you have to understand the underlying causes of a protest, because I have seen here
I saw the state
when people
trying
when
in
people
Nepal,
were
they brought
protesting.
water trucks, police.
No, it was too late. You see, when you deal with it when it is too late,
Yeah.
you will never succeed, because there are issues that are solvable. If you don't solve them,
So Uganda is dealing with it early.
no,
Having these
Uganda.
arrests and so
This
on.
ours is also a military junta, just slightly.
Actually, they are preparing themselves for that. Because even the ones of Nepal were forced where they are because of the practices of the government in power.
So ours is a military junta, not as bad as our neighbors, but they are in that category. I think every time you have had a protest here, Museveni will kill everybody, and they will tell you are going to kill you, and they will kill you. But the underlying causes in all these countries, some of them are known in advance. Because I saw Hasina in Bangladesh. She knew that people were not happy with her, and she knew the reason. But she kept on inviting the military, initially police, to help her. I think the people in Nepal underestimated the anger of the population, and then started very late to come and deal with it. You see, states, people in government can be arrogant. I saw the guy in Tunisia, and that's why Tunisia survived. The moment he saw that the public was angry with him, he didn't wait. They did not touch anything. When he saw the anger, he just picked the next plane to Saudi Arabia. And the anger went down and started sorting out. They did not ban anything. But the trouble is that leaders will see a problem even
and refuse.
And then say, no, military come and help.
Bangladesh.
Yeah.
Agatha?
Because why do you run away after the country is burnt down?
Do you think Nepal could go down now? The way Sudan has gone down?
I don't think so. So
you don't think so?
No, I don't
because
think so.
Bangladesh has not recovered.
The youth in Nepal went and looked for an old person who is not youth but someone they think is of integrity and unanimously said
73-year-old leader
and unanimously said we want this one to be our leader in the interim. What's surprising is that the army and other security agencies there allowed that. Yeah, so I think and I hear you when you talk about it speaks to your fear for fighting and whatever when you talk about chaos and what has happened.
You did, because I imagine that chaos in Nepal
Bangladesh. Because still, Oscar, at the end of the day, even that chaos, blame it on people that allow things to first get that far. So I know for a fact you're right that everywhere where there's been change and we have thought that it's a good thing. Yeah. Talk about Zimbabwe, for example. Talk about the
Zimbabwe. There was no change.
Well, there was no Robert Mugabe anyway. So talk about the coups that were happening in West Africa. They were not all bringing positive change. That's very true, and that's worrying. But I still think that the leaders that allow things to get to that extent, without any, in our case, for example, if you are a leader and 40 years on, you have not planned any way of how am I leaving power, what systems, which person I am leaving in charge. If that chaos comes, it can't be the fault of people that have stood up against your excesses. The youth in Nepal were asking for a few things. They had seen people, privileged children of ministers, lavish, and the pomp that we see here of people.
Planned children like you, Agatha.
No, I am not one of them. But it's not about planned children. It's about a speaker who drives 7 cars with personalized number plates, or a presidential advisor, Roabogo, that we had here, and I found out a 7-car convoy. It's about that. Exactly. It's about that opulence. So for them, they had been okay with that. I mean, they had been aggrieved until the spark was, I think, the shutdown of social media. I have 2 friends, both in Bangladesh and Nepal. Now, when the one from Nepal came to tell us on the group what's happening, the one in Bangladesh said, I hope it won't be as chaotic as it is for us here. So at the end of the day,
at first sight, you because when you first hear that they are rioting because they switched off social media, you think this is really trivial.
No, because I think everywhere there is a spark. You can only push people so much. There's where they reach and say, but now we can't even use our own, where we buy our own data. You have taken out everything else. There's some things you cannot take away. So when it started, the fight became about corruption, that opulence and wastage and luxury, while others are. And for me, I think I'm happy that they went, and you're asking earlier about whether the youth are capable of leading. These ones realized that they are not. And they went and looked for someone who is not a Gen Z, who is not even a young person, but someone that I think in this country, I don't know, we would think of maybe like Rakana Rugunda. If you want to think of someone in the government that went out without any corruption scandals, I don't know. Which is what happened in Kenya as well. So when the Gen Z, when the youth in Kenya protested and started to see that another election is coming and they don't want Ruto to remain, they didn't look into themselves. Some of them went to the former Chief Justice also, David Maraga, and asked him. I don't think David Maraga had considered running for elective politics, but now he's one of the contenders for the 2027 election. So I think that for me it should be a lesson for the leaders here. The youth in Nepal that have brought it flames are not even 40% of the population. So I think that even here, it should be a lesson for our leaders here to say that we shouldn't allow this get to this extent.
The
I think
annoyance,
there's anger, there is...
Let's go to Obo. Nepal, you're 2 minutes now because we're running out of time. Have you been following that?
I have been following, but the only thing I notice is one. Nepal has had history of this violence erupting previously, and they have been even removing the former kingdom. It was also in such a nature whereby they have been revolting.
Hon Wanyoto says, thanks for the show. All Nepali prime ministers' tenures have always been short-lived.
And then there's something I realized, the difference between Ugandan youth and Nepal or Kenya. I think ours, whereby we cannot rise up to that massive level, is that we account socially. We have some social fabric, like you are attached to your parent, you are attached to the church, you are attached to the community, and I think it is only ghetto people who don't have that social belonging. The Katana people, yes, they don't. Like right now, if like you say that they are rising as Ugandan youth, they can't. The reason is that you will find that people from, maybe youth from Bale can say that it is Engineer Mulonyi or Lady Lydia Wanyoto who, when she says don't, they will not.
They won't.
When you go to Chira, Honorable Ssemujju, they say that tugende mu street over nedda. When he says don't,
they won't.
So that can only happen. Actually, this one where I predict that when the president goes without clear planning, the real conflict we shall have in this country from the youth, yes, the real conflict we shall have in this country from the youth will be like maybe General Muhoozi's people rising up and maybe Honorable Rwabogo people rising up, and the youth clash because they are fighting. It is internal. That's where the problem, but not this Honorable Katanas and the group.
General Muhoozi's people and the Rwabogo's people to clash.
I mean the internal, the youth are divided in that line.
No, I mean since in the NRM,
I'm
I want
giving
to
an
prepare
example.
myself.
I just give an example.
I have liked the example.
Yeah,
you
that's
don't
why.
need to explain it anymore.
No, that's why.
You saw them in the primaries. Honorable Lydia Wanyoto, your 2 minutes on Nepal.
Nepal
and self-destruction is the way I see.
Nepal is not very far. We have a nexus neighbor here, Kenya. It happened. You saw what happened with the youth in Kenya, and what happened in Kenya. I don't know that Oscar you followed. Even the youth were some of them children of big people. So you don't, in your mind, don't even have that these are youth who are unprivileged. There's also the mentor, the relationship of young people. So I remember someone said a son of a bishop told the father, it was the son they were going to riot. So he said, Daddy, drop me. He jumped into the vehicle, and the father thought they were going to church together. When they got somewhere near Uhuru Highway, I told the father, leave me here. I said, where are you going? I'm going to join my colleagues. We are rioting. And the bishop dropped the son, protesting, and went. The Chief Justice you have talked about, his son, the children, they were in the part of the riots. Yeah. So it's not about, it's I think the mind, but also the times. Somebody talks about opulence. I want to add impunity.
Yep.
Yeah.
You cannot survive on impunity. Impunity will deal us.
What is in this country.
Impunity mobilizes anger. Somebody can come through. So mix opulence against people think is unfair, and then impunity.
Why doesn't the show now end there?
So, so when you hear that me, I'm doing my own things, I'm quiet. It's because how do you handle impunity and opulence?
Yeah.
So that's where and right. You cannot mix right and wrong.
Yeah.
Wrong is wrong. It doesn't matter whether you are PPF, whether you are FDC or NOP or NRM. Wrong is wrong.
Thank you.
And right is right.
Thank you. So, Benjamin, the leader talks about impunity.
Yes.
Another thing that sparked violence in Kenya, there's a young man, his hands were up, and then they still shot him.
Yeah. I think start from that point of impunity. Actually, when what triggered initially the protests were about opulence and extravagance by the ruling elite. So when people started protesting, that's when they shut down the social media, which triggered more anger. And I have bad news for my brother Obo here. He says, trying to compare situations, to argue that what has not
happened. How I like shows to end on a good note. Now I chose Katana to speak last.
In the past cannot happen.
I should have chosen you.
For me, even where people have a problem that sometimes this has ended in chaos, in my view, it is progress. Progress in a sense that once people know that they must assert their rights, whoever comes in future, whether it is 20 years, cannot take them for granted. The British even had to behead their kings to get where they are. The liberty that is celebrated in Europe now, people died for it. They fought for it. So, the French even great on their king. So for the fear of chaos that is associated with uprisings, for as long as people are fighting for a good cause, it should not be a concern, because you can never get freedom and liberty on a silver platter. You must fight for it. Yes.
Finally, Juliet Nabwile can now vote for Honorable Wanyoto. She has seen the light. Impunity is impunity. So thank you so much, listeners of the Capital Gang. This week, Abdul Katuntu lost a brother. He's away, so it's very sad.
It's really sad.
Yes. Also, draw your attention to all athletics in Japan. Please go there. There's World Athletics Championships, and we have Ugandans running in all categories. So please
I should drive
listen.
Through I'm going.
Yes. Star Cafe, thank you so much. Obo, Emmanuel Johnson, Obo, welcome to Gang. Great having you. Good luck with NRM. Lydia will welcome you.
Welcome to NRM
Benjamin
youth.
Katana, Agatha Tuhaire, Honorable Ssemujju.
But don't come with the anger, just come and make your contribution.
Yes. Next we have Rough Cuts by DJ Nyoe. I am Oscar Ssemujju, and I shall see you next.